On July 17, 1989, a new staple to the Disney parks made its debut at Disneyland, putting the Disney spin on a classic theme park ride, the Log Flume. The new attraction accomplished many feats, among these being the reintroduction of Disney characters that arguably started with a questionable past. This is Dateline Disney, and today it's time to be moving along because we're looking for a little more adventure on board Splash Mountain. Before there even was a Disneyland, there was a Walt Disney Studios, started of course by a man with a dream. And almost 10 years after this dream was realized, after the release of Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt began to develop a new film. Based around the historical Uncle Remus stories published in the late 1800s, Walt's new film would follow Uncle Remus himself entertaining a young boy with his Brer Rabbit stories. The film would be mainly live action, with the characters of Uncle Remus's stories being overlaid as animated cartoon characters. Based around the historical Uncle Remus stories published in the late 1800s, Walt's new film would follow Uncle Remus himself entertaining a young boy with his Brer Rabbit stories. The film would be mainly live action, with the characters of Uncle Remus's stories being overlaid as animated cartoon characters. The film released to very controversial reception due to how it handled the issues of race. Eventually it was decided that because of these controversies, the entire film would not be made available on home media in the US, and Disney tried to let it fall into the past in order to protect their image. And, whether or not the Song of the South is as racist as everyone made it out to be, it still played a part in the overall conception of Splash Mountain, especially its story. After the opening of Disneyland in 1955 and the popularity it found among tourists, Disney continued to build new attractions and to update the park, giving visitors new things to experience whenever they paid it a visit. One of these new attractions was the Bear Country Land, with Country Bear Jamboree as the sole attraction located there. Bear Country had opened to a quick boom in 1972, but over time guests stopped visiting as frequently as they once had, with not much else to do besides Country Bear Jamboree. This became an issue among Imagineers, especially Imagineer Tony Baxter, and he set out to fix the lack of guests in Bear Country. It all started when Baxter was stuck in traffic on his way to work one early summer morning in 1983. It was at this time when Baxter thought up his initial idea for Splash Mountain. Baxter also took into consideration the repurposing of the audio animatronics being used in the America Sings attraction, which wasn't getting very many guests either. Splash Mountain was planned to be a log flume ride. Previously, many Imagineers had said that a log flume was too plain for Disneyland, much to the dismay of Imagineer Dick Nunis, who was insistent upon building one. Finally, Baxter considered for a moment what characters guests would follow through the ride, and he turned to the Song of the South. This initial concept for the ride wasn't even known as Splash Mountain, but rather Zip-a-Dee River Run. Construction started by April of 1987 with a staggering budget of $75 million. 2 years later, after many changes were made to the ride midway through its completion, the ride was scheduled to open on July 17, 1989, but things took a bit of a turn when some of the first guests on Splash Mountain were getting very, very wet. This caused the ride to be hastily closed after its grand opening so that the log flumes could be redesigned and less water would get inside of them to soak the guests. Either way, Splash Mountain was very successful, quickly becoming a fan-favorite attraction. Two more Splash Mountains started construction in 1991, one in the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World and one in Tokyo Disneyland. These consecutive mountains opened within one day of each other, with the Tokyo Mountain opening on October 1st, 1991, and the Magic Kingdom Mountain opening on October 2nd that same year. Hey guys, thanks for watching Dateline Disney. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we would really appreciate you checking out our channel and maybe even considering supporting us through YouTube fan funding. Every dollar can improve our videos even more. We've got a lot of great content on the way, so we'd really appreciate it. Although, even if you can't support us monetarily, you can still like and subscribe and maybe even share our videos with fellow fans of the Disney parks. Everything counts and anything helps. Thanks for watching. See you next week.